Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It is time for an intraday update on AMC stock as well as this market. Number one thing that I will tell you, today has been dominated by Fed speakers. They have all been in unanimous agreement of higher rates for longer, and the next move between a cut or a rate hike is likely to be another rate hike. So what they're basically reiterating is data dependency. And we've heard this many times before, but that highlights kind of what the markets are not expecting. The markets are not expecting the Fed to be data dependent. They're expecting the Fed to cut rates no matter what the data looks like, starting as early as July, if not indefinitely by September. So kind of going against what the markets have priced in and what is propping up stock valuations right now. But AMC stock remains a very interesting creature. You're getting more 13F filings that are coming out. One very notable one from Sequoia International Group. They just purchased millions of shares of AMC stock, now amounting to about 5.4 million shares. So we're going to look at their filing as well as other filings, ladies and gentlemen, get into the Ortex data, a technical breakdown, and everything else you guys need to know. So buckle up, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel. Source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. So number one, this market today. We talked about this in the last video. Home Depot, bad earnings, the worst earnings miss in about 20 years, and they guided lower, meaning that it's not a good sign for the economy, right? If Home Depot is not doing well, then a lot of builders are likely not doing well also, and that is pretty bad. Now, retail sales rose 0.4% in April, less than expected as consumers struggle with inflation. Across the board, retail sales numbers were also not good. So, two things that are negative. And then you had the Fed speakers, and you had the guy second to Fed, Jerome Powell, that came out and spoke today in the Virgin Islands, and he kind of said the same thing all the other members have been saying, that we're not expecting rate cuts. That's not going to happen. That the government needs to raise the debt ceiling and they need to do it soon. That the Fed is the buyer of last resort, which I found pretty different because he was referencing 2020 over and over again because he was asked, why do we need a central bank? And he said, well, we're kind of the guy you go to in crises. And then the markets actually did sell off a little bit when he did say that. So that's kind of a rundown of what's happened so far here on the day. Now, the big story really of this week is going to be Fed Jerome Powell as well as Ben Bernanke that will be speaking on Friday. That's going to be probably the next big catalyst to move this market. In the meantime, if the markets start to care about the debt ceiling, then today and after hours, you're going to get some bit of news. The president, as well as Kevin McCarthy, as well as Mitch McConnell, as well as Chuck Schumer, they meet at the White House at 3 p.m. today. Little before, little after, pretty typical. You should be getting an update in between 4:30 and 5:30. And that's probably going to affect, obviously, the futures and, how the trading day is tomorrow. But it's not a guarantee, right? You're probably to hear the same things that we have heard. Schumer and Biden are going to say things are going great. Kevin McCarthy is probably going to say we're far apart and nothing is really happening. The government is not serious, or the Democrats are not serious about raising the debt ceiling. Now, we really haven't seen markets react to the debt ceiling as much as you would kind of expect them to. Granted that we are just about 2 weeks away from the government defaulting on its debt, and that's never happened before, so we don't know what the consequences of that would ultimately be. You would think it would be affecting the markets a little bit, but it's not yet. Now, initial jobless claims come out tomorrow. And you're expecting 270,000. Last week's reading was a jump of about 22,000. This was the last thing that really upset the markets. So we definitely want to watch that as well, because that'll be pretty important, right? If we do come in much higher, this is kind of more recent data. This is not a month delayed like the government's payroll or non-farm payroll report is, or the ADP employment change. This is kind of more current data, so will be a little bit more important. But nonetheless, Fed Jerome Powell, as well as any updates from the debt ceiling, those are going to be key over the next day or two. Now, let's talk about AMC stock, because AMC, at the time of recording this video, is down about 2.35%. And you are now under the 50 and the 100-day moving averages. The 50-day moving average sitting at $5.09 per share. AMC stock is at $5.02 per share. Now, keep in mind that 450 level, in which some analysts have tried to call out as a really buying pressure kind of area for AMC to get you back up to $9 per share. We talked about this, and I've seen quite a few people comment about this, that $4.80 is really the next buying level for AMC. And when you get to that, you should get a sharp bounce. I expected the stock to bounce sooner because it's been, I mean, how many red days in a row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red days in a row. That's a lot of red days. But it does go to show exactly what I talked about in the last video. The breadth of this market is terrible. This is the worst breadth that you have seen in a very long time. And this essentially means that as the markets are going higher, most stocks are declining, right? And that just means that the gains are really concentrated in a few names. And you can see this as a divergence in the charts. Typically, you should get both of these charts kind of looking the same, right? Markets fell like they did in February and March, and the breadth fell, right? The total basket of stocks were falling. You rallied after March, and most stocks rallied until about April 23rd. Then a lot of stocks started to fall, and even most recently, the last couple of weeks, where the markets have been just grinding up higher, most stocks are actually plummeting. A lot of stocks are at the same levels they were at when the NASDAQ was in the 280 range. The NASDAQ today is almost 330. So that whole gain plus some has been in only a few names. So it's not a big surpriser that most stocks are down and you're feeling a lot of pain in your portfolios. Trust me, if you're not in Apple, Microsoft, or Nvidia, then you haven't felt this degree of the market rally. It's not like everything is rallying. Bear markets do not end with big tech rallying. Bear markets end with small and mid caps typically seeing the rally first, and that is not happening. And like I said in the last video, that is furthermore indication to me of the collateral crisis that is likely to be coming in the near term future, because this is unsustainable, and this is going to mean mega tech, mega cap tech is going to have to come down. And that could literally crumble this market, because everything else is already down. If tech comes down, or mega cap tech, those 5-10 names come down, it could get bloody very, very quickly. Now, who knows what's going to be the catalyst to cause that? It's anyone's guess. I would say it's probably debt ceiling fears and concerns that would be that next big catalyst. But again, very hard to tell with certainty. So that's kind of a rundown of what is happening. Now, let's look at some of the 13F filings that are coming out here for AMC stock. And let's go ahead and refresh this page, see if we can get any new ones. And the big one on the day today is Sequoia International Group. Now, Sequoia International Group now owns about 5.4 million shares of AMC. Get this. They increased their position in AMC by 307% from January 1st through March 31st of 2023. Sequoia International Group owns a call position of about 34 million shares. They increased that by about 12.35%. Sequoia International Group also owns a put position worth about 34 million shares. They increased that 105% in the last 3 months. And Sequoia Fundamental Investments, LLC, owns 140,000 shares of AMC, decreased that by 79% in the last 3 months. So you are seeing some big changes from Sequoia, and obviously this put change is pretty sizable, but also the share purchase is also pretty sizable. It's not really doesn't really look like the most bearish bet that you would expect to see a lot of these firms putting on. In fact, a lot of these firms positioning in AMC has tended to be pretty bullish, right? You see a lot of green here. You see a lot of increases to positions. Again, Millennial Management, LLC, just bought 2.1 million shares, a call position of 1.7 million shares. And we've looked at these before in other videos, right? Citi, they got massive call positions, massive share positions. Same thing with Bank of America. They are set up bullishly for AMC stock. Parallax Volatility Advisors has a $1.3 million call position on AMC, a 30,000 share position on AMC. What is it? State Street purchased 7.8 million shares of AMC in the last 3 months. Eminence Capital purchased 2.8 million shares of AMC in the last 3 months. Vanguard selling about 0.5% of their overall position, putting them kind of back to their last 13F filing at about 51 million shares they currently own. So not too much there with the top investors of AMC being BlackRock and Vanguard, but you are seeing a lot of moves here, right? You're seeing Jane Street coming in with a 2 million share trade on AMC as well. Seeing a lot of this, right? A lot of very notable names getting very good positioning on AMC. Here's that Bank of America trade. 10.5 million shares controlled in a call position, purchasing 1.4 million shares of AMC as well. And this list basically keeps going. Charles Schwab Investments now owns 3.4 million shares of AMC. Intera Capital, they definitely have the largest negative trade on AMC right now, a put position worth 55 million shares. Group 1 Trading, $9 million call position. Intera Capital also has a 1 million share call position, probably to try to hedge that out. Berry Street Capital Management has a 2 million share call position. Let's see. Clear Street has a 1.3 million dollar or a million share position as well. EMG Holdings, a 2.3 million share holding in the calls. Same story basically all the way down, guys. So long story short, you're not really getting a lot of bearish positioning the way that you might expect to see with the kind of arbitrage trade that we are expecting, right? That people have been shorting AMC to be a part of. And we could see they're trying to be a part of that. They are buying a lot of options as of recently to suppress the price of AMC. And that is clearly very obvious. And you're seeing it yet again here today. Really focusing on that $10 put. July 21st, $10 put for $500,000. July 21st, $10 put for $1.53 million. A June 16th, $10 put for $1.33 million. A July 21st, $10 put for $761,000. A July 21st, $10 put for $2.5 million. A July 21st, that's a $3 put for $160,000. June 16th, $10 put for $3.47 million dollars. Another $2 million July 21st, $10 put, $500,000 trade, $600,000 trade, $3 million trade, $3.4 million trade, another $1 million trade, another $2.7 million trade, another $3 million trade. Like, it's obvious what's going on here. It's not like the roof is caving in for AMC by any means. The stock has been going down, but based off these options that we're seeing, I mean, I'm impressed. I'm impressed AMC is not falling more, given you're seeing orders that are this size that we have not seen in AMC. Like, you have not seen this when AMC has fell. So pretty encouraging, but nonetheless, the short score on AMC is sitting at 89, $667.48 million worth of short positions in AMC. Estimated short interest of free float at 25%, free float out on loan at 32.37%, and shares out on loan 167.15 million. Days to cover 5.15, cost to borrow 128.5%. If we take a look at the live cost to borrow rates, cost to borrow max 356.8%, cost to borrow average 120%, cost to borrow minimum 0.5%, and from Interactive Brokers 69% for the cost to borrow fee. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it here in this video. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. If you guys also want to come trade with me live in real time, link down below in the description of this video as well. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.